Okay, so we've gotten to the point in the year where it's like basically winter, but there's no snow yet. You could say that's autumn, but I don't know. It doesn't feel like autumn. It really doesn't feel like autumn. It just feels like winter. But I decided to keep my window open because it was like 80 degrees inside last night. And I woke up this morning and it was like 35. Oh boy. Bonk. I got a bonk too. Now, these guys, there's like two versions of them. You got the normal versions, which are these ones, and then like a rotten version of them. And I really, really like these versions because everything they do is deliberate. You know how to dodge them. It's very methodical. And that's kind of what Dark Souls was famous for. The like slow, methodical gameplay where everything was deliberate. And I think it's very nice. But then, like, on a boss tier list, these guys would be like a 7.5. I really, really like them. And also, you get their staff from him. But then, the rotten ones, on paper, if you look at it, it might not seem like they changed much. Outside of like one single attack, which is the big jump attack. Because what it does is it splooshes out some like mist thing that if you step in it, I think it does damage on top of building up Scarlet Rot. And you might go, okay, that doesn't sound like a big deal. But in practice, what I found is a lot of the times they'll do that jump attack. And then you have to run away because if you stand in it, it is death. And so you're forced to run away. And then they're like, aha, you're at range. And then they do the slam attack, which is the one I got on the horse for. Yeah, I can do this. But then you get close to them and they just do the slam attack again. And so fighting those ones becomes the slam attack, like the jumping slam, followed by the slam into the ground, followed by the jump, followed by the slam, followed by the jump, and it's basically them just doing two attacks over and over and over again. with the like overhead swing occasionally. And so you only really see 3 moves from them. Rarely you'll see a 4th. But if you go back and watch that fight we just had, they use like 5, 6 different attacks, maybe 7. They got variety. And it's great. So it's like, it just sucks that with this one tiny little change, they brought this like 7 to 8 boss down to like a 4. Because I really, really like the normal ones. It's just that one jump attack and mixed with like how their computer brain works, where every time you get far away from them, they're like, ah, I must use this range attack. Which sounds good on paper, but in practice it does not work. +4. Do I have any 5s? I know we came here for the 5s. We don't have any 5s. There's a 5 around here somewhere. I know 6? Okay. There's a certain route I take here, as there's a certain route I take in almost every area. But over here there's a Crucible Knight. One of the ones that sucks. And on one hand, I don't want to use Mimic here, but on the other hand, a +4. I thought that might be a 5. But goodbye. Yeah, you fight him, you get the spear. Inside of that tree, there's a chest with his armor set. Are you a 5? You're not. Okay. But yeah, you can come up here. You can ignore the bow guys. As long as you keep moving, they don't tend to hit you. Like if you just keep moving straight, they're not hitting you. But then you get on these things. To my knowledge, there are 2 that are like this, where you need to get on top of them and hit these from the top. There's this one, and then the one near the Raya Lucaria Crystal Tunnel that I said I didn't have the patience for, because you have to wait a long time. This one was done a lot better, because we don't have to wait for it. Also, yeah, bringing it down kills all the mausoleum soldiers around it. And then here, all the way at the top, there's like the top left, the top right. Top right is the tree and the boss, pretty sure. But top left, you get mausoleum soldier rations. Which, like how I'm trying to use every single weapon class, I'm trying to use every single ash. And They're one of the ones I used. They're decent. They're one of the normal ones. One of the ones that use grave. And they fall into the exact same problem that all of the grave ones fall into. Which is, they're fine until you hit mountaintops of the giants. I don't know what the game devs were thinking. It was probably just like they were running out of time because this game was slightly too ambitious type of thing. 5! Woo! But it was like they were running out of time. This project was slightly too ambitious. And so they were just like, well, we're known for making difficult games, so we better just crank the difficulty because we don't have anything else. Like, we don't have the time to make things difficult naturally.
I feel like I'm really coming to grips with spirit tuning of late. I can see how and why immortal essence exists. A spirit under the golden order. I can understand it. Master Hugh, once again.
Yeah, so you get curtsy, and that happens
Are you here for...
once you upgrade something to +4. 8, so it'll be like 30k, probably. And then, yeah, more dialogue. Yeah. Hugh and Roderica bounce off each other a lot, and they have a lot of dialogue. Like, possibly the most in the series. 62. Ooh. 3. That'd be 8. We can try this, see where it gets us. Hello. Ah, we have no 9s. Okay. Yeah, that's fine. We can try Hugh Goose at 8. I'm wondering, will all these guys respawn? Since we kinda reset the area? That looks like a no. Okay. There's normally like a mausoleum knight in here. Which, when you're just running through an area to get some items, you tend to not want to have to deal with a mausoleum knight. Look. Nice. Nice. So this man can be staggered. Just throw cannons at him and... Oh, hi. Hello, good sir. I can't help but notice. Yeah, that has a lot of range to it. A little strange. That was very rude. That's something that I noticed a lot. Is people... Like, when I listen to people in the community, they'll be like, oh, ashes are meant to be a distraction. And then I'll be in a fight and watch my ash hit the boss like 5 times. And the boss will just be like, I do not care. The boss will keep going after me anyways. which is very lovely to see when I'm trying to do something, like slurp a flask. I mean, honestly, it's probably a good thing. Beautiful. But yeah, it's probably a good thing because I can dodge the boss, whereas Ashes will just stand there and take it. Goose is bigger than me on my horse. What a giant. Just an absolute Goliath of a man. There's an ongoing joke that, oh, yeah, you're still here. There's an ongoing joke that I'm like 4'7". Because I took a screenshot next to Blythe, and Blythe's massive. And so, would be kind of funny to think that your character, because in these games, like in the Soul series, a lot of things are really, really big. Like those things, massive. I mean, it's mostly enemies, but like enemies, bosses, sometimes an NPC here or there. But it would be really funny to think if everything was just normal sized, and instead of everything being massive, you're just tiny. It's like, no. It's not the entire world that's weird, it's just you. Which, I mean, makes sense, does it not? Wouldn't it make more sense for only one thing to be weird instead of the entirety of existence? Drop down here. Now, this upcoming boss here is several bosses just dumped on top of each other. Like, first, it's Fia's champion, which I have not figured out what that means or the rules to it, because it seems like every single time I go in, they're using like a different weapon and they have a different armor set, and I've never been able to figure it out. And so it's like, who knows? I mean, Frostbite proc. There tends to be like 5 or so main things that I see, but they're ever changing, so it's weird. Where's the... Ow. Whereas the second one is always Rogier. Come on, Queen. Yes. Nice. Bash him. Hit him with the bonk. The magic bonk. Beautiful. Yeah, that one is always Sorcerer Rogier. And then the third one is a trio fight. And I think... Ow, that did a lot of damage. Nice. But yeah, it's always this guy with the twin great axes. And then Lionel. Get that nonsense out of here. And then it's this guy with the shield. And it's just those three every time. So, always the same every time. The second and third. But the first, a lot of variety, which variety not inherently a bad thing at all. I just haven't figured out the rules. It keep throwing skulls at me. And meanwhile, our friend here, Hugus, is going to smack you upside the head with his head. Okay. He has missed. Now, whenever I get something new... Hold on. I've delayed it first. I've delayed it before I can do that. But whenever I got something new on my first few playthroughs, I always went to Gatefront because there's a nice little path that you can take that lets you get to all the enemies in like short little groups. But there's also an enemy that's really close to the site of grace, and they don't notice you, and so you can sneak up on them and easily do whatever. And when I got Fia's Mist, I got super excited because it's a mist that builds up Death Blight. Now, I wasn't expecting this to work on everything. I wasn't expecting to go in and be able to just Death Blight one-shot the boss. Like the final boss. Or any boss for that matter. But I thought it would work on at least some enemies. Like at least the basic, like Godric soldiers that you find all throughout Limgrave. Nope. Nope. Could be wrong about this, but to my knowledge, it only works on other players. Like other human beings. And I mean, I've even tried it against other like NPC tarnished. Like way up in the mountaintops of the giants. Over like here or so. You can invade Juno Hoslow. Tried it on him. And after like 8 or 9 casts, he still wasn't going down. And so it's essentially worthless. And for a boss that's 5 tarnished, 1 and then 1 and then 3, to get a reward that is worthless against 99.99999% of enemies, possibly 100% of enemies that aren't human controlled, that just sucks. Because there was a lot of potential there.
Ah, there you are. I knew you would come. What is it you intend? To deny us and our ways? Like the dogmatic brutes of the Golden Order?
I mean, look around. This place is not... It's not doing great.
You are an odd one. I am the guardian of those who live in death. Yet you
I thought you were a deathbed companion. A companion, not a guardian. But the whale. A hug. Because you need to do this both for her quest and for Dee's quest.
Have you ever seen a Hallowbrand when the first of the demigods died? His flesh was Godwin's out there is and I must before that. When got another and I must before that my hand will you still?
Yeah, so off in Liurnia, there's this little thing. Entrance here. And you can go and you can take. So you go here from Ronnie's quest. When you gave her the Finger Slayer blade, she gave you an inverted statue. You use it there to change this dungeon into an altered version of the dungeon, which lets you go across this bridge. And then at the end of the bridge, there's a talisman that gives you 5 intelligence, but also a curse mark of the centipede that you can give to her, and then she falls asleep, and then you can like use her as a portal to fight a dragon, and then Deal show up. Or if you don't care about that, then you can just take this teleporter. And this teleporter is the third and final way, to my knowledge, to get to the Altus Plateau. Which, boop. Except it doesn't bring you to the Altus Plateau. It brings you into Landell, which is like a legacy dungeon inside of Altus Plateau. Now, you go from Altus Plateau to Landell through this point right here. And this point has 2 like barriers. The barrier here, the second one, you need to kill 2 shard bearers or 2 demigods, whatever you want to call it. And then that just goes away automatically. But the first barrier here, on the other side, there's a boss. I think it's a tree sentinel, like a draconic tree sentinel. And you need to kill that boss to get the first gate to open. But you can't access it from the side. So taking this path to get in gets you into Landell, but not Altus Plateau as a whole. Which, I mean, you don't, or I'm pretty sure you don't need to get into Altus Plateau, just Landell. Because the 2 quote-unquote main bosses in the entirety of Altus Plateau, at least for now, would be Morgott, who you fight, like, here in Landell, and then over in the Volcano Manor, there's Rykard, but pretty sure Rykard, despite being this, like, massive figure, and there's a lot of build-up to him and whatnot, pretty sure he's still a side boss.
My art for bringing here, and thus I shall farewell. I shall leave. I wish you have. I have no.
Goodbye. And then Bacchus here.
Ready to... Man, I was
Erdtree.
the Erd...
Yep.
I know it. Oh, please.
Yep. Dragon. And this is one of the best looking areas in the game. And on my very first run, by Fort Faroth, there's a massive dragon. And when I first saw them, I went, there's no way that thing's alive. It's too big. And then it roared. And I was like, it's alive. And I dipped and didn't come back to Caelid for a good long while. And when I first came here, I was looking around and went, wow, this is beautiful, and stopped when I saw the dragon. And remembered dragon near Fort Faroth and went, if that thing is alive, I'm uninstalling the game. I would not have uninstalled the game, but I'm very thankful that thing was not alive. Because it was horrifying to see. Stop running away. Yeah, see, these things are a 4-shot. But you can turn into a 3-shot with the Frostbite proc. Now, these things. That weapon is busted. It's so powerful. A while back, probably is like my 5th, 6th, maybe 7th run, something like that, decided to run around as an envoy. And at first, I thought I was going to use the, like, small, normal hammer horn, because it was fast. So, this guy got some jumps. But I thought I was going to use the, like, small horn for, like, speed. There aren't any around here. There's 2 in Mikla's Erdtree, way up here. I thought I was going to use that for damage. And then probably forget about the middle one. No, the middle one was the main one by far. It was absolutely the most common of the 3 that I used. Entirely because of the weapon unique skill. It was so powerful. But it full-on melted bosses. Like, with Mimic here, even some of the hardest bosses in the game became jokes. Because they'd show up and I'd just go, okay, Mimic tier, okay, heal, okay, Bubble Shower. And like, they'd usually get like 1 or 2 attacks off. But you could just hyper armor through them and just keep going, and it legitimately melted the health bars. And like, it was a shower of bubbles, and every single bubble was like its own piece of damage. And so it wasn't like the health bar goes down in one single thing. The health bar would just slide down. And it was great to see. It was so satisfying. It wasn't fair because it was too powerful, but it was so satisfying. Also, cannon. Good for range. I don't really want to stick to Lane Delve for too long right now. Actually, what level am I? 60. Oh. 65. I usually don't pay attention to my level, but feel like we should maybe be a little higher than that. Not 100% sure though, but it feels like we should be higher than that. Sorry, did that hurt you? Eh. Good, good, good. This poor guy. Sorry. I only have one cerulean tier left. Well. I'm sure we'll be fine. Oh, well. You want the hammer? Okay. But yeah. See, like, he hit us. Didn't matter. We just hyper armored through it. Upper class robe. And this brings you back to where the elevator was. Which is nice. Love when things connect into themselves. We don't want to be here, we want to be up. Why am I losing stamina? Yeah, it's fine, it's fine. But there's another Erdtree avatar here, down on like this main street. And I mean, they're just a normal Erdtree avatar. But I think they're a decent example of what the other really bad thing about the putrid avatars is. I press lock on, and instead of locking onto the enemy directly in front of me, it locks onto an enemy over there that I can hardly see and didn't even notice was there until lock on. And again, not the enemy aggroed onto me directly in front of me. Most busted lock on in terms of functionality and dysfunctionality. But the first Erdtree avatar we fought, or the last one we fought, it was in this wide open space in the Deeproot Depths. Lots of room. It was great. The one here, remember, Erdtree avatars are big. You get this one, like width-wise, one street, not that big. Which, sorry little guy. Which is like, that's not a lot of room to move. And that's how a lot of the putrid ones are. Is you don't get a lot of room to move. Nice. Do I hear someone walking? All the imped heads give you 2 points in a single stat. So like this one gives faith. There's one that gives strength, there's one that gives intelligence. I think the cat gives intelligence. I forget which one gives strength. Might be the golem or something. But I can point out or show how little room they give after this. Because we'll go and just snatch up that side of grace as well. Actually, no, we can just dip back to Deeproot Depths. You don't want to fight me. But yeah, it's like there are 2 Erdtree avatars that I think do really well. There's one here, lots of space to fight. And then there's the one over here, lots of space to fight. But then there's the one on this bridge, or main road. Not a lot of room to fight. And I mean, it's a normal one, so that can actually be a bonus, depending on how you look at it. But the putrid ones, since they love to do their jump attack, and it takes away like 30, 40 feet of space, simply by them doing the move, and they constantly do the move, it becomes an objectively bad thing because it just forces. It's like, let's say you start out here, they use it, alright, you're now here. The enemy simply deciding to use this move made you lose all that space. And they can do it as much as they want. And they can do it whenever they want, no cooldown. Now, there is a putrid one here. Yeah, there's a putrid one here and a putrid one here. This one, it could be better. This one's fine for the most part. But like, there's one in Mikla's Erdtree that is just atrocious. You're stuck in one tiny room. And on the last run, like the one where I went through the entire game in like 40 episodes, I didn't show it because I knew it would be wasting like 10, 15 minutes. And I did not want to subject anyone to that. Though I might show it this time. that's a pretty big might. So we need 26.7. We can get that really quick and then go. Two or three more, right? Oh, one more. Also. And voice horn. Nice. You jumped down. That was a mistake on your part. Well, since we got the normal horn, might as well try to get this one, right? With the chance of glory. We did not get the chance of glory. Oh well. But there was... I saw a YouTube video, and someone was going through all the weapons, and they rated the normal horn as D tier, and then they were like, there are two more, but I really don't care to grind them, and so I'm just gonna put them all in D tier. But the Great Horn, it is at worst an A tier weapon. I would probably put it as an S tier weapon. Now, I don't use skills, like the weapon unique skills. Like, I've had Chilling Mist on this for a while. I've used it, I think, once. I almost always just ignore skills and just go with the normal attacks. And usually tend to give people who use skills a bit of a sideways look. They're not bad, just weird. But this weapon is one of the very, 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 very few exceptions where the skill is just so unbelievably good that I'm like, yeah, I have to use this. Blasphemous Blade is another one where it's like, this is just really, really good. I mean, you simply have to. You just gotta use it. It's just too good. Forgot I still have to do this. We're at 48 minutes. Again, really don't like going over an hour. Like, I do not want to hit an hour. So, hopefully we can speedrun this. Because there is... Like, there's a guy who shoots us with magic here. And it does a lot of damage. And we're not wearing a defensive set. But hopefully we can make it faster. Alright, let's count it. 1, 2... Okay. Took 2 get off the horse presses to get off the horse. Not bad at all. Okay, you put on the statue. Everything becomes inverted. Now, I've tried. You can send... Because there's an elevator there. You can send it up, you can send it down. It does not matter. No matter what. Whether it's up or down. There's still going to be a hole here. I think that's kind of stupid. But, whatever. And yeah, so... For the most part, he just spams Laura's bow. Now, Massive Confidence is just... the mask that Loretta, or not Loretta, the mask that Selvis uses, but without the hat. Huh. Not as much damage as thought it'd be. That, sir, was rude. I was gonna say, there's a giant platform thing there. He shouldn't be able to hit us, right? Now, you can kill him to get a sorcery. You can actually kill him when this whole little dungeon area is normal, and then once, like, this one is inverted. And you'll get 2 different sorceries. However, one of them isn't really that good. Like, it's really not worth the effort. And also, battle mages don't use either of those, so no. Now, up here is one of the Godskin people, the one that rolls, which the roll is such a BS attack. But you can hide, like, in these, and he'll roll into that. And if you have something that can hit through a wall, you can just wail on him while he does it. Because his roll, if it doesn't hit you, lasts for like an entire minute. It's ridiculous. But that gives you plenty of time to wail on him. He also has a ton of health. Like, it takes longer to kill him than the fire giant, which is an endurance fight. With endurance fights, they're meant to last a long time to drain your resources, and he survived longer. That might just be because you have less time to punish him. Like, his punish windows are miles smaller, but either way, the fight with him lasts longer. Come up here, Curse Mark of Death, and Stargazer Heirloom. So we can bring Curse Mark of Death back to Fia, but we also get something for ourselves out of it. So it's not like it's purely for the quest. You do get an intelligence talisman out of it.
This is the other Hallowbrand.
Yes.
How did you with this and claim you and though I hold
And then tight hug. And you get a better version of that thing.
I will and it the new as the rulies brandish stay the by becoming. I to conceive brandish stay the by become.
Now, for some weird reason, it doesn't matter how many times you talk to her. She doesn't give you the final lines. You have to get up. I don't know if you have to sit at the site of grace to soft reset the area, but I do it just to be safe, because this animation takes a while. But you have to stop being hugged
This is goodbye, my dear.
to get this.
But I choose and I will who will inherit what great This, but I choose, and I will. Who will inherit? What great?
And then wait 5 years to stand up because we are either very slow or want to savor being hugged by like a lich demon creature. Whatever the case may be, though. Enter the deathbed dream. Summon Mimic here because this boss does a lot of damage. That kind of sucks. I think we're just gonna use Great Glintstone Shard for this because I don't know where to go for this. Okay. We're... I never fought this boss with magic, so... Because there are a lot of bosses that fight very differently. Depending on if you're using melee or magic. Or like melee or range, I guess I should say. And I think this is one of the bosses that's very different depending. But I don't know how to fight them with magic. Because I very rarely use magic. So, outside of, like, maybe try to keep her distance, I was down a chunk of health. I don't know where that came from. I probably just wasn't paying attention. Dodge. That probably should have hit me, but... Elden Ring is weird because... it feels like, compared to the other games, it gives you a lot of L's that you shouldn't take, but it also gives you a lot of W's that you shouldn't take. And the game's just, like, more luck-based, I suppose. Now, that's for an ending. Don't really care for it. We're at 59 minutes.
Take a good long look. They're
Yep,
rotted now
yep,
like
yep,
honey.
yep,
The honeyed.
yep. You're talking about honey. Man likes Cheerios. Whatever. So he kills Fia, and you get her hood and her robe. Kill him. So you get the twin set back, because you had to give the twin set to him to get help on the dual Valiant Gargoyles here. But you also get the Inseparable Sword, which is neat. And then you can take this to Leyndell if you want. So, yeah.